That's not perfect. Perfect. Today is Tuesday, so you know what that means. Tag Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, September 14th. Jimmy came up with the questions. I've been spending most of the day watching everybody's videos. They're all cursing you, Jim.
They always do.
They always do. They can't believe how difficult the questions were for them. Especially Kim.
Not hard this time.
Oh, Kim's going to rip you a new one.
Come on, Kim. They're not that hard.
No, Kim's got words.
Watch how quick.
Kim's got words for you.
Honestly, I even forgot the questions. That's how long it's been. So
it has been a couple weeks. That's true. But anyway, obviously we've already tagged Joan and Kim. But Jimmy didn't get over here over the weekend because Jimmy's realized that he's an old man. He moved his stuff and he gets to the house and he says, I've realized that I'm not doing this again. I've only got one more time to move it. Because he moved some stuff in our basement and some into his father-in-law's garage. And they're moving into an apartment while they're building the house. And so I said, you're not moving one more time, you're moving 2 more times. He says, how do you figure? I says, you're going to take the stuff out of the furniture. No, moving this stuff. I misunderstood.
No, I knew I had to move again.
Oh.
But we were talking to somebody because Samantha does, works at a mortgage company. So she talks to people all the time. And whoever she was talking to on the phone, she was saying, we got to move some to Jim's mom, some to my dad's, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, can I tell you something? She goes, yeah. He goes, I did that last year. Just burn all your stuff. Just burn it all. Buy it all new. He goes, it's not even worth it. So I'm like, he's crazy. I tell you what, 7.5 hours into it, I was like, man, we should burn all this stuff. And then, of course, she's like, well, yeah, after you get all your tools and everything over my dad's house, now you want to burn everything. I'm like, yeah.
He's going to hire 2 men in a truck.
To move all this stuff back, because by the time I'm done building the house, He's
going to be done. Done like a dinner.
You go ahead.
Done like a dinner.
I don't care how much it costs.
He's got money to burn.
Burn. I'll just tell her, take some money from the loan, put it aside. That's the movers. I don't care.
Even David's only 20. David looked exhausted.
And every time I looked at him, like, because he was going up and down the steps.
Yeah, he was doing more of the work.
And I kept telling him, I'm like, stop. You're going to give yourself a stroke. Just take a break. And he's like, I'm fine. And he did. He said it with a straight. I mean, he was sweating all that, but he was just like, I'm fine.
He's fine.
I'm stumbling, my knees giving out. I'm like,
well, that's what Kim said, that her and David got some new furniture, and the kid was carrying in the love seat like on his shoulder.
Yeah.
David said those days are gone.
Yeah. No, not doing that.
Because I think you probably are close to age with David.
Yeah.
Probably.
Pretty close.
But it's just probably Kim for that matter too.
Yeah, we started at 7 o'clock in the morning.
You were here at 9:30.
And when we both went and showered and laid in bed, and we were like, we looked at the clock, it was 12:45.
Yes.
And I don't know who said it first, but we almost said it at the same time. We're like, we are not leaving this bed tomorrow. And all day Sunday, like, we called Jamie, like, hey, bring us some lunch. And then Jesse was on the way home from work, we're like, bring home Taco Bell, because we're not getting up. And the only time I got out of that bed was to go to the bathroom.
Lazy people. And Kim, I was disappointed. I really thought you were going to show a clip of your furniture, because she's got so much furniture. She said you can't even get into the room. But anyway, this is a tag. This is just like an everything thing.
Exactly.
Everybody's tags were like over 20 minutes because it's kind of hard, some of them.
But
anyway, number 1, what is a moment in your life that changed you for the better?
Mine would be when I was 21, when we were living on Roslyn. Then remember Jack, my neighbor Jack?
Yeah.
I was just working odd carpet. It wasn't really carpentry jobs. It was like, to fix this, do that, or whatever.
Handyman.
Yeah. And his nephew was the president of one of the locals for the Carpenters Union. And he said, you can get in the Carpenters Union. I can get you in. And I'm like, yeah. Everyone says that. And he's like, just fill this out and give it to me, and I'll give it to him. And I did. And he called me up. He's like, come on in. He goes, pay your dues, and I'll start you Monday. And then here I am.
Here he is. Not working for a union, though.
Not anymore. But
the moment that changed my life was probably when I was watching a Phil Donahue show, because Jimmy will tell you, I was afraid to leave the house. I would never leave the house. I always thought I was going to die. Like if we were shopping and we were like looking at stuff at this table and Jimmy walked over into the other room there, I would have to follow him. I couldn't be alone. My sister was the designated driver for all the carpools because they were involved in sports and stuff like that because I couldn't do it. And I just thought I was I know I'm an oddball, but I just thought that there was something wrong with me. Well, there was something wrong with me.
Yeah, I was going to say that was.
Anyway, I found out on Phil Donahue that there was this thing, and I don't even know what it's called, but it's like people that are afraid to leave the house. Yeah, he always did that with the Phil Donahue with the microphone. But and then I saw that, and I was listening to people's stories and stuff, and I realized that I could overcome it. And then we bought the house that Jimmy didn't know about, and it was so far away from my whole family. Not far away, but for somebody that's afraid to be alone, it was really far away. We were about 15 minutes away, and I had to learn to be by myself. And I think that changed my life watching that one TV show, because now I'll go within a 30-minute radius.
I was gonna say, ooh.
I don't go very far, but I go within a 30-minute radius. So that would be what changed me for the better, because then I really started living my life. I wasn't really living a life before that. Number 2, what is your favorite memory you shared with a friend as a kid?
The funny part is when I asked all these, I had the answers. So,
well, I know what mine is, what you're thinking. Mine was when every Saturday, because it would be on Saturday, because I usually babysat on Fridays for the Samaros across the street, Michael and Brian. They don't watch me, but I'm waving just in case they do. But I would have my babysitting money, and I would go with my best friends, Mary Kay and Sydney and Sue, and we would go up to the Civic Music Shop, and we would scour all of the records to see which one we were going to buy, because it was 99 cents. Back then you only got 50 cents an hour for babysitting, so I didn't want to spend all my money on records.
Right.
I spent $1 because you had to go to Cunningham's and get something, and then you had to go to Saunders. You had to get something to eat. You had to spend the day at the Civic Center. But and I just remember going into the record store, picking out the record, and then they'd have to play it before we went home because we wanted to make sure it didn't skip.
Exactly.
And so we would listen to the record and then we would come home and just pay it. And then I drove my mother crazy because one of my favorite things after the Beatles was Dave Clark 5 and Bits and Pieces, when they used to stomp their feet.
Yes.
And during the song when they were playing their guitars and that, and my bedroom was on the second floor, and I would always play the record and do that. My mother was always yelling at my dad, "Stop that stomping!"
Exactly.
Anyway, that's my favorite childhood memory.
I would say mine would be like when we were in Detroit, getting up on Saturdays and going playing baseball all day.
Back then, like, I agree with Joan, but more so when I was growing up, it was like even more free range. But like even with Jimmy, he would go out the door in the morning, and if he came home for lunch, he came home for lunch, but he had to be home by dinner. He had to be home by 5. That was the rule.
And then I would eat dinner and go right back out.
Go right back out, and then you had to be home before the street lights went on. That was true for me even when I was growing up. But
I remember playing, and all of a sudden you hear bzzz.
You see the lights get ready to go on.
Flickering. I'm like, oh man, I gotta go. Like thinking like if I had to be home when they were on, knowing,
And see, and when I was growing up, if you weren't sitting in your seat before my dad sat down for dinner, you didn't eat dinner. So you wanted to make sure you were home in time. My dad we ate dinner at 5 o'clock on the dot. So unless he was working overtime, but you had to be home and sitting in that seat. My dad would wait until 5 o'clock before he'd sit down, just to give you that last opportunity. And if you walked in the door like at a minute to 5, my dad would say, "Keep on walking." So you never were. Obviously, I got big enough that you could tell I didn't miss too many meals. Number 3, what is the strangest combo food you like?
I like macaroni salad and red pit green olives.
Yeah, that is odd. Well, we all know that mine is the Cheerios and orange juice, but if I had to pick something other than that, I find that people find it's odd that I get pork and beans and cottage cheese and mix it together as like one big bowl of pork and beans and cottage cheese all mixed together.
My other one would be French onion dip and ham sandwich.
That doesn't seem so odd to me, but
That's
I know
delicious.
The orange juice and Cheerios is a little odd.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the pork and beans and cottage cheese is that odd. I really don't.
I mix all my food anyway when I'm eating, so
Yeah, he
it
does.
doesn't matter.
My kids, they drive me crazy because they make Christy, I should say Christy, because I haven't seen Danny do it. Maybe you do it. I haven't really paid that much attention. You sit at the far end of the table.
I do. The cool end.
Yeah, the cool end with your dad. But she makes her mashed potatoes, and then she digs a hole in the middle, and then
I
she
do the
puts
same thing.
and then she put the corn in, and then put the gravy on the top. I don't like gravy. I'm just
darker the better.
no, I don't like gravy. It always reminds me I made terrible gravy. My gravy's not. It's either too thin or too thick or too pasty, or I've tried all the different things.
Yeah, Samantha knows how to make good gravy.
Yeah, it's in the jar. You buy it. It's called Heinz.
No, she doesn't do that. She uses flour and all the other stuff.
No, but Chris, I had my boss over one day, and Christy was like 6 or 7 years old. I had him over for dinner, and he was asking like pass the potatoes, pass the meat, and all that. And she leaned over and put her hand on his thigh and said, "Don't ask for the gravy. It'll be horrible." I don't make good gravy, and so I don't like gravy. So I don't know. Did you answer that?
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay. Number 4. What memory can you think of at any time that makes you smile? Mine is just my kids and my grandkids. Just some.
I was going to say my kids.
All the things that we've done and things like that. Just memories of that. My parents and that. But it doesn't say one specific memory.
No, it doesn't.
That's
I'd
good.
Say, yeah.
Number 5. What is the most scared you've ever been?
Most scared I've ever been was when I fell, when I was 5 stories up on a lift and the concrete broke on one of the wheels, and luckily it broke on the side that sent the lift towards the building, not away from the building, but I was stuck between the 4th and 5th floor, pinned between the floors until a crane could come and pull it back to her. So we were there for a good 2, and I remember I was scared when it happened, obviously, and then it hit, and then I'm like, okay, we're not going anywhere. Like after 10 minutes, I'm like, we're not going anywhere. It's like wedged in here pretty good. So I remember looking at the one guy and saying, "Hey, can you pass my lunchbox down?" Because it was like close to lunch. He's like, "What?" And I go, "I can't do anything. I can't work here. I might as well eat my lunch." And the kid I was with was scared out of his mind. He's like, "How are you eating?" And I'm like, nothing else to do. Just sitting there eating.
Mine happened, which I talked about in my video about a month or 2 ago. Was I go to my yearly physicals. I do all of that stuff every year. I'm like not out the same month because it costs too much with your copays, but I haven't spread out. And I was going for my heart doctor to get my EKG and my echocardiogram and all that stuff. And I was driving on the expressway going a little bit too fast, and I come around a curve, and I could see everybody jumping out of the lane real quick, and I couldn't figure out why they were all jumping out of the lane. And then as soon as I came around the curve, like in a blind spot, there was one of the worker trucks in the lane, not off to the side, in the lane, completely stopped with no flashers or anything. And I slammed my brakes on. I almost went into the wall. And my worst fear was because I was on the blind curve that the people coming around were going to hit me. And I was like the scariest moments, but I still passed my heart exam. So that was flying colors. But oh my God, I really thought I was going to die. I really thought I was going to die that day. I really did. And the only other time that I was ever really, really scared was Jim and I went to Hawaii for our 25th anniversary. His parents paid for the whole shot. It was nice. It was a great anniversary. And we were coming home, and we were driving on the expressway, and all of a sudden, we saw everybody swerving out of the way, and there was a drunk driver coming the wrong way, heading at us head on.
Whoa.
And he ended up hitting the car next to us, but clipping the car, and that car went into a roll, and it kept rolling and rolling, and the car that was going the wrong way completely turned over, and then the guy was like trying to crawl out of the car. But we kept on driving because it was like,
later, we're going home.
See ya. So I don't know. We watched the news. We didn't see anything on the news, but at that point, we would have just been more of an accident,
right,
if we stopped. Yeah. But that was scary. Number 6. What is the one thing that aggravates you?
Drivers. Oh, drivers. I cannot say. I don't know if it's. I hate when people blame COVID for everything. Yeah. But ever since COVID, it seems like the cops aren't pulling anybody over, and everyone and their brother is driving like a complete moron, like whipping in and out, like not even just taking chances that are like, I'm not saying that I'm like Sister Mary Margaret, right, and I go the speed limit. I speed, but like when I go to work, I get on the freeway, I get in the lane, I will stay in that lane the whole way to work until I have to get off the freeway. I mean, every once in a while there'll be someone going slow, and I'll, there's no one around, and I'll go around them. Like, clearly I have the path to do it. But there's guys that are like coming in with like an inch to spare, and they're just like in and out, like they're just gonna kill somebody.
Well, that's not really true about the police not pulling anybody over, because guess who got pulled over this morning?
Oh, you got pulled over?
Yes, I was bringing Alyssa to go get her COVID vaccination. And I had passed the school zone, and I seen the sign on this side that said 25, so I'm just assuming that we could go back even with the sign, that I could go to 35, that's the normal speed limit.
Right.
But there was no sign like this way that said 35. And as I was passing up the thing and I speeded up to 35, I noticed the police car. And he pulled me over.
Did he give you a ticket?
No, he was nice. I was really nice to him too, because I had all my stuff ready. I didn't realize that I didn't pull over far enough, and so he couldn't get to my side of the car without getting hit by a car. I thought I was pulled over far enough, but I wasn't.
Going crazy.
So he went over to
pull over right.
I know. No, I pulled over, but it's like that part over there in Washington.
Yes,
there's no shoulder. There's hardly any shoulder. So I pulled over the best I could, because I didn't want him to think I was eluding him, and then get a bigger ticket. And so then I didn't realize that I'm looking for all of my information and stuff, and then I hear Alyssa because I was putting the window down, and then he came up on Alyssa's side, scared her half to death.
I was going to say, she must have loved that.
So he said, well, where are you going to? And I said, yeah, I was going a little fast. And he said, yeah, you were? And I said, yeah, I'm bringing her to school, we're late. Can't tell her it's going to the doctor. So he took all my stuff, and he come back and he says, well, Mrs. Carrico, I'm just going to give you a warning. And I said, I so appreciate that. So I only got a warning ticket. I didn't even get a ticket, I just got a warning. And so then when we were on the expressway, I knew where all the blind spots where all the police were.
Yeah. And
Alyssa was just kind of looking at me. I said, there's going to be a cop up there. And there was. And then we'd go a little farther and I go, there's going to be a cop over there. And there was. So they're there. They're just not going after anybody.
Nope.
The thing that aggravates me the most, in the past it would have been, where do we start? Because lots of things aggravate me. But right now what aggravates me the most is the fact that people are treating the people that are actually working so flippin' rude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the lines at the grocery store are ridiculous. And the prices of the food is ridiculous. And then you get up to the register, and here's this poor schmuck. Well, I shouldn't say schmuck.
I'm like, oh, yeah. She's like, just making fun. All these people are schmuck.
These poor people that are up there, and they have to deal with the public. And they're there at work, and they're getting their little minimum wage, whatever.
Right.
And then they're trying to get people in with twice the amount of money that they're actually making doing it. They're going to pay somebody more than the people that have been there the whole time. And then I just can't help myself. If somebody's being rude to one of the, I'm going to get stabbed. I'm going to get shot. I am, because I say something.
I'm the same way. I'm
going to say something because you know what? They showed up for work. They showed up. You may have had to stand in line for a little bit longer than you would have wanted to.
Right.
But if they didn't show up, where would you have been? You wouldn't have been able to get your stuff. So don't be treating people rude. That just drives me crazy.
I was at the gas station just picking up pop or something, and I was like, and they're all high school girls, because it's small town, so it's just them working during the day. So this older guy comes walking in, and I don't even know what it was. He just walked in, and he's like, "Give me a carton of this." And I kind of looked over like, okay, whatever. So I'm looking at the girl that's, at my register. She's kind of like, giving a weird look. And she goes, "Well, we don't have those." "Well, what do you mean you don't have those?" And I kind of leaned over and I go, "You want to change your tone a little bit?" And he kind of looks, he goes, "Who are you?" And I'm like, and it sounds so cliche, but it's the only thing I can think of. I'm like, "Your worst nightmare if you don't pipe down over there, old man." He kind of just looked and he's like, "I'll take those." And then he walked up. And I told Samantha, she's like, "Where did that come from?" I go, "I have no clue."
Too many movies.
But that's all I could think of at the time.
Number 7. What is the best memory of your grandparents?
Best memory of my grandparents. She's going to be mad at this one, but it is one of my favorite memories. Her trying to get out of a reclining folding chair.
Not me, your grandparents.
Oh, man, I know it's going to be you.
That wouldn't have got me mad because I did have a hard time.
That was funny.
Chair,
That was funny.
That was the...
We waited till you were okay, and then we laughed.
We were at our anniversary at the Greenfield Village, and they were having cake. I thought, cake! And so I forgot that it was a recliner, and I thought it was just a regular lawn chair, and I got caught in the middle, and I started running for the cake, and I got wrapped up in the chair, and I went rolling and everything. And my family just started laughing hysterically. Strangers
were helping her because we couldn't. We were laughing too hard.
No, they wouldn't help me.
My grandparents.
Your grandparents. That would be grandma or grandpa or buddy or grandma, mom.
I would say going to Lexington with grandma.
Yeah, she always made things fun. I don't really have too many memories of my grandparents because, like I've said, when my one grandfather passed away when I was very little, so I never knew him. And then my grandmother, by the time I came along, I was like the 75th, something like that, grandchild, old nose.
Right.
I don't, if we went to her house, we weren't allowed in the house. We had to sit on the porch. If we were thirsty, we had to get a drink of water out of the faucet, which back then we did anyhow.
Right.
And if you had to go to the bathroom, you had to hold it till we got home.
Yeah.
But my other grandparents lived in Boston, so I didn't really see them. But I do have a memory of going to Boston and taking the tea with my my grandpa and going to Boston Commons and feeding the pigeons. I remember that. It just sticks in my mind. We had so much fun.
I would say the one that I forgot about would be playing Texas Hold'em with grandma. Remember we used to have the family Texas Hold'em, and she tried to pull her age, whenever she lost. Oh, I thought that was something else.
Yeah.
And Steve would just hook, line, and sinker. Oh, sorry, Grammy, here's your money back. She'd look at me and be like, no, lady, tough. You better get some glasses because
learn the rules. Number 8, this is getting long. What is the greatest memory of your siblings? Well, we have siblings. If no siblings, a cousin.
The greatest memory, I would say, for each one.
You didn't say. You just said, what is the greatest memory of your siblings? See, Kim, even he's having a hard time.
No, I'm going to just lump them in with everything. I would say
I thought it was lining up all of Christy's dolls.
that was, because that would be all three of us.
Yeah.
So I would say we picked on Christy a little too much. And she would line up her dolls and start talking to them, which never helped her case, because then it was like, oh, we're making fun of you for talking to dolls now. And she would cry, I can't wait till mom gets home. Then, we throw her, you ain't telling mom nothing, or this will be tenfold next time. Did she ever tell you?
Yeah, she did.
No, I mean at the time.
Yeah, she would. She'd say, Jimmy and Danny keep laughing at me, and they're making fun of me. And, and Bobby Joe doesn't like that. Bobby Joe is her favorite doll. Bobby Joe doesn't like that. Bobby Joe gets so mad. Okay, well, let me
Danny used to punt Bobby Joe. Whenever she's up crying, he'd rip and just punt it down the hall.
Yeah, Bobby Joe she still has Bobby Joe.
Oh, yeah.
She still has Bobby Joe. My favorite memory, my greatest memory of my siblings, I think it's just that when we would all pack into the car and my dad would bring us up to the lake, to Lexington, and it was like a long drive. We can make that drive in an hour now, but back then there was no expressways. It took us about 2.5, 3 hours. Just the excitement, and then when we got to the hills,
oh yeah,
there's like 3 hills, but we thought, there's all these hills.
Exactly.
When we got there, it was just, and then we would all be in the back, and we'd be so excited, and it would just be the best. It really would be the best. And then my other memory was when I was babysitting Denise and Mary, and they were jumping on the bed, and I kept telling them not to jump on the bed. Mary her butt went right through the drywall, put a great big hole in the wall, and I was afraid my parents would get mad at us, so she hung a poster which was like 3 feet off the bottom of the thing on the wall. I guess this was not the place for a poster to be, but that would be another one. Number 10, last one. What is one item from childhood? What is one item? What is your favorite thing to watch on TV or in life? Number 9.
Well, Emergency would be on TV.
Yes.
And in life would be any drum line from a high school or college band.
Oh, yeah, because Jimmy always wanted to play the drums.
Yeah.
I didn't let him play the drums. Jimmy gave me enough, what do you call it? Trials and errors.
Love.
Yeah, he gave me lots of love. I did buy him. I told him if you really wanted to.
I missed the guy. Still pisses me off to this day. I missed by literally 1 point getting a drum set, and you were like, nope. I'm like,
That was the rules.
Ridiculous.
That was the rules. But I told him if he really wanted to take the drums, you know how you practice on that little pad first?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't want to practice on the pad, so he just got buckets and stuff like that, and that's what he had. My favorite thing to watch on TV is what?
Anything with somebody getting murdered.
Well, Criminal Minds. I love Criminal Minds. But Andy Griffith.
Oh, yeah.
I love Andy Griffith. And in life, I just like seeing families. I just love like sitting in a park and just seeing all the little kids interacting with their parents, and if they get hurt, how they run to their parents for help and things like that. Just little things like that. Now it's number 10.
Now it's number 10.
What is one item from your childhood that you no longer have that you wish you did?
Tibby.
Tibby was in a major car accident.
Major
He
car
got decapitated.
accident. Gone. And then Mary tried to sew the head back on and it would just flop over to the side.
He looked like the Downy bear.
Yes.
It wasn't the Downy bear.
It wasn't the Downy
It wasn't
bear,
the Downy
but
bear.
it looked exactly
It
like
looked
it.
exactly like it. It was after that he became infamous.
Yes.
His alter ego came out and went to the TV. My favorite item from childhood would be my Beatles memorabilia. I wish I had my albums and all the baseball
still
cards
sealed?
and the
Ooh.
postcards, all of that stuff. It'd be worth so much money. It really would.
So which one were you? Paul or Ringo?
John.
Or
I was
you were
John. I was
Oh.
John. I love John. Okay, Roy, I only think this is fair that Jimmy's going to answer the question that he sent to you. Although Roy has lined up a question, he's going to, because he's got the next 2 weeks.
Hey, bring it on.
But he's going to send you a question. But so, Roy, I'm going to have Jimmy answer this bonus question that was yours.
Piece of cake. Watch how it's done, Roy.
If you had to skydive and free fall from 20,000 feet and could only pull the chute between 10,000 and 5,000 feet, when would you pull the cord and why? And if it didn't open, how would you try to land so you wouldn't get hurt?
I would open it at 5,000 feet because if I'm skydiving, I'm doing it for a thrill. So that's going to be a thrill. So I'm cracking that thing at 5. And if it didn't open, simple. All you do is you go loose. As your feet touch, you just tuck and roll.
Oh, I don't think
Done.
that's not going to, we're going to break both your legs. And
No,
probably
because
your
that's the part
spine.
where you got to be loose. Then once you see your feet, you're watching the whole time. Once your
Well,
feet touch, you just.
The only way that would really work is if you were drunk, because drunk people never seem to get hurt, as far as like falling and stuff
Right,
like that,
that's
because
true.
they're so loose that they just kind of just fall. But anyway, so that's it for almost a half an hour. Okay.
Oof.
We already tagged Joan and Kim. They already had them, but I'm also gonna tag I always say it wrong. Meema McHealthy Living. I'm gonna tag her, and I'm gonna also tag Valerie Reese. So if you're new to our channel,
Like,
comment
subscribe.
and share.